Ray, first of all, do you want to just tell us a little bit about Tamaiti and that injury that he's got there?
Yeah, well, everyone saw it in the quarter final, he hurt his knee, and then the surgeons had a good look at it after all the scans, and best thing is to have surgery for him.
So did he play through that Super Rugby final with a pretty buggered MCL here?
Yeah, a little bit of cartilage was locking his knee out, and he couldn't quite straighten it, so it was pretty immense effort from him to get through that whole, majority of the final. Yeah.
How long do you expect him to be out for?
6 to 8 weeks, but if it's 8, we'll manage it. Yeah, it's tough, like he's obviously been in great form, but he'll rehab quickly and he's in good hands. Yeah.
What do you like about George as a replacement?
He's experienced, isn't he? He's in good form as well. It was a tough call not for him in the initial squad, so we're pleased that he's come in. He brings a lot of energy. He's got a great singing voice too.
Yeah. Should he have played in the final? If he's now having to have surgery, is there a feeling he shouldn't have played?
Well, he played, and we're here right now, so they're the facts. Yeah.
It's a bit of a habit performing, I guess, with Whitelock in 23 and Tuipolotu last year. These players playing through the pain to get through, and then you've got to pay for it a little bit later on. How do you approach that as a
I've always trusted the medical groups and my advice that I've got, and that's what it is, medical to medical. And players want to play, don't they? And they want to compete, and that's the scenario at the moment.
When did you have to make that call? How much of a hit was that?
Made the call on Friday, and it was obviously the quality of Tamaiti's, probably the best loose head in the world, so it is a big hit. Yeah, and the good thing is we've got depth, and people have always stood up, and that's come into this environment. And Gru's experienced. Ollie Norris is a big test footballer. This is why we picked him, to find out about him, and George comes in with a bit of experience as well. So we're in good stead.
Scott, have you had a chance to look at that French squad? I think 28 of the 37 have got less than 10 caps. What's your sort of general feel about what's coming in the next 3 weeks?
One thing with the French, they've got depth. He's created depth previously over the last 6 years that he's had the squad, and all those young, exciting players that come through. French rugby's in good stead, in a good position. And this is when they're probably at their most dangerous, when they're underestimated, aren't they? It's quite nice that you guys tell the story that they're depleted and all that, and then they get their backs up, and then we get a ferocious French team. So, it's been a while since we've had success. So our focus is on ourselves, and as much a lot of respect with our preparation for the French.
Is that result in Paris last year still fresh? That at one point lost there.
The one post, yeah. Yeah, we a lot of our review in the off season was around that game because we gave ourselves so many opportunities to win it, and we didn't, and why, but also what the good about it and the things we can get better. We felt like we probably had our best 2 weeks with the Irish and the French, and we probably didn't get the result we deserve. Sometimes you don't get that in test matches, and a couple of bounces the balls didn't go away, so that was our basis for us to improve on for this year.
We've had a few days with the boys now.
Yeah.
What do you make of what you've seen so far and some of the new combinations and things like that?
Yeah, a lot of energy. It's a great place for us to come and connect. A lot of singing and some training. The boys have run. They've run and they're fresh. They know there's a test week ahead of them, and they're excited.
Scott, you touched on Tamaiti obviously, but Wallace, how much of a setback is that, and how much does that change maybe your thinking with the loose forwards?
Yeah, Wally's Wally. We know these the performances he's given us in the All Black jersey, so we'll miss him, and then it's an opportunity for somebody else. Fortunately, we picked the squad, and obviously with Christian was in and around anyway, and has played great at number 8. And we've got plenty of guys to play in a couple of positions, which the utility factor will come into play. But yeah, it's tough. We feel for Wally, but he's a great rehabber. He came back last time amazingly, and he will again.
Do you have the same trades? We saw Super Rugby refereed a certain way, let the game flow, minimal TMO interference. Got the Lions playing a series over in Australia at the moment, World Rugby will have a big look at that. Have you got a feeling referees are going to be told to referee to a slightly different formula than the one we've seen so far?
Test footy is a little bit more under the microscope, for sure. The game's a little bit more stop-start just because of the nature of the contest, and there's obviously with the red cards and yellow cards, we're aware of what we need to be in self-control of, so we give the refs good pitches, but it's definitely in the front of mind. We learnt that last year.
What was your sense about discipline overall last year and playing within the kind of discipline that you would like to see from your team? Do you think you got that last year? Not when you're leading all those games and they turn on that moment. That's an area of improvement for us and a real understanding of, as individuals and as a team and players coming off the bench, how can they make an impact and they're clean. That's a focus for sure. Thanks, Gregor. Yeah.
Is Luke Jacobs fit this week then?
No, he's still going through the protocols with his HIA.
And if somebody Penny was to play, for example, what would you want to see from him?
Sima Penny, the physicality, trusting himself, and being aggressive within the law.
Scott, you've got a lot of midfielders in your squad. How are they, I guess, responding to that challenge with so many of them vying for 2 stars?
Yeah.
What are you seeing from those guys?
Yeah, they've been great. They've been good. They've been teaching each other, coaching each other, and giving a little bit of feedback and competing. There's some great trainings, and look, as I mentioned, they're named as midfielders, but they could be playing other positions. That's why we've gone for that mix.
Just going into July, obviously always a challenge, getting your Blacks up to speed.
Yeah,
First 3
quickly.
tests of the year. What did you learn last year that I guess maybe you've adjusted to or changed up this year? Are you doing anything slightly different?
It's a fine balance, Mark, because you've got to give them enough. Like you might go through the lineouts quite quickly. You get a few more lineouts than you think, and then you've used up that menu, as we call it. And then what are we going to go to now? But so you've got to give them enough, but not too much. And it's the fine balance of the two. We've got a lot of experience here, and you get great feedback. You always check in with them. You feel like you've got what you need. Both sides of the ball, enough contact work that's come in. Like a lot of guys have played some great finals footy, so a lot of them are physically ready. Some of them had a little bit more of a break, and they do extras, one-on-ones on the side there, and get a bit of grapple and work with Tamati Ellison on the sideline. So everyone needs something different, but we're in a good space. Yeah.
Scott, in terms of mindset, preparing this French team with big players that has nothing to lose, do you prepare your players to a special mindset, facing men who have nothing to lose, just raise arms?
I think the first thing is awareness, that they come over with the ability to play. As you said, they're quite free. There's not too much weight on their shoulders, and respect that they can be dangerous. And so we have to show that. The biggest thing is we respect them with our preparation and understand those strengths, but also the ability that we've been together for a year and our cohesion's high and trust ourselves.
And do you think your players are responding to this call that you make? They will respect this team?
That's what the art of coaching is, We'll find on Saturday. But we'll build for it. I think it's important, a sold-out stadium. This just shows the respect to the French. It's been 2018's a long time since we've sung a song in our changing room after we've won. So we're well aware of the contest ahead.
Sounds like morale's been pretty high at camp so far. Who's been leading the singing and joining in?
There's a few boys that could start a boy band, I reckon. It's pretty special. Pussy and George, the front rowers have keep a great rhythm, and we have to come down and because they get a bit high, more pitch than us. Trying to stay with them, but they've got good energy, and it's great to connect.
Yeah, and good first few days at camp.
Yeah, it is. We've trained hard. We've challenged ourselves. This is the areas we need to get better at, what did we learn from last year, and what did we learn from training, because obviously we haven't got a game to review, so now it's time to get excited.
Do the new faces bring some pretty new energy as well? Tell me about that and what you've seen in them as well.
A little bit of nervousness and a little bit of excitement combined together. They're always keen, they're always early, they're dressed in the right, the gear to make sure they tick everything off, and we had a great little gathering after we went down to the clubs. We feedback on what it meant to be in the clubs and connecting with our community, and just those little things, just that connection being straight away. They've spent their whole career trying to get to become an All Black, and now they're out in the public, and it's pretty humbling.
Christian especially, how's he slotted in?
Yeah, good. Obviously he had high minutes. He's a great professional, and he slotted straight in. He was in the end of the year tour with us last year, so he's up to play with all our calls and our structure. Yeah.
Scott, when it comes to selection, how do you start the season off really strong, but also bring in those players that are on the move?
That's the art of it, isn't it? You want to give everyone a possible go. I've said, look, that was my plan too. We want to be held and put a contract on it, because things do happen, but our goal is to play everyone, and you want to get some combinations, cohesion. That's our advantage at the moment. If we make it that way with guys that have played footy together, and then you get the balance of how many changes over the series.
And what do you like from Billy Proctor, and what does he need to do to own that 13 jersey?
Well, what he's done is he's played well this year. So he's done that. Now it's up to us to select him, isn't it? And just keep doing it. Keep playing it and step up to that next level and be accurate what he does. But he's an instinctive player, really exciting. So, yeah.
Scott, have you watched the final of Top 14 on Sunday?
Yeah. I watched the highlights, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. What details about the...
C'est enorme. C'est impressive. It was a bon match, a real final. Great head-to-head, some great classic matchups. It was a great game of rugby.
Would you rather the final of Top 14 or the final of Super Rugby? In terms of game-wise?
Oh, game-wise. Definitely Super Rugby. Definitely Super Rugby. When you want it 2 degrees in Christchurch versus 32 degrees in Leon, made all those things add up.
You mentioned
final question.
Yeah, final question.
cohesion.
Yeah.
It's not going to be perfect, but I mean, what's the number one message to your team in terms of what you want to get out of it?
We want to play fast. We think the game's in a great place for us. Quick scrums, quick line-outs, these taps. If our skill set trends to us playing fast and keep creating. So that's what we'll push all week.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.